Former AEW Women's World Champion Mariah May makes her official WWE NXT debut last night and officially puts pen to paper on a multi-year WWE contract. We've got all of the details on her signing with WWE. We also saw Trick Williams successfully defend the TNA World Championship against TNA Wrestling's Mike Santana on NXT, thanks to some help from TNA Wrestling stars AJ Francis and Casey Navarro. That means that Trick Williams will be defending the TNA World Championship at the upcoming TNA Plus special against all odds against former WWE superstar Elijah. WWE announces Ricky Saints suffered an injury last week on NXT. Dragon Lee returns to NXT in part of a match that involves NXT, Raw, Evolve, AAA, and TNA wrestling talent. AAA stars appeared last night on WWE NXT, and Lindsay Dorado will be replacing Joaquin Wilde at the upcoming Worlds Collide show after Wilde suffered an injury prior to Monday Night Raw this past Monday. Izzy Dame hits Brooks Jensen with a steel chair and kicks him out of the culling on WWE NXT. Miles Bourne defeats Charlie Dempsey and will be leaving the No Quarter Catch crew. WWE LFG Season 1 co-winner Tyra May Steel is victorious over Ariana Grace on NXT. Several matches and segments are confirmed for next week's episode of NXT, including an NXT Championship match. And once again, another WWE show comes with We Want Truth chants during the broadcast, this time on NXT. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Before we begin, you can see right there, we're at 22,131 subscribers. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and join the ever-expanding WNU, that being the Wrestling News universe. In addition, you can become a member of the WN365 roster. Links in the video description below. You can also click the join button or scan the QR code when it appears on the sidebar. You get your badges, your emojis, and your exclusive members-only content. Whilst checking out the sidebar, you can also see all upcoming watch-alongs and post-shows we've got here on the channel. That includes this Saturday for AAA and WWE Worlds Collide, as well as WWE Money in the Bank, a live watch-along and post-show for those shows. Let's begin with, I guess, one of the worst-kept secrets, that Mariah May was on her way to WWE, but now she's officially made her debut on the NXT show last night on the CW. With Roxanne Perez, Julia, and Stephanie Vaquer now out of WWE NXT and onto the WWE main roster, a few names have come aboard to the women's division in WWE's developmental brand. That includes WWE LFG winner Tyra May Steel. We'll talk about that a bit later on. But another followed suit amongst a chaotic segment surrounding the newly crowned NXT Women's Champion, JC Jane. While several locker room members brawled on the entrance ramp, the lights of the WWE Performance Center flickered off and on to reveal former AEW Women's World Champion Mariah May standing on an elevated platform. Alongside the jaw drops and chants of excitement, May made her NXT rival official. Quote, "Ladies, you can call me the next NXT Women's Champion because the best women's division in the world just got a lot more glamorous," May said as Jane stood in the ring with her title. Like fellow former AEW star Ricky Saints, May comes to WWE with a bit of mystery surrounding her, as neither she nor the WWE commentary team made mention of her ring name. In Saints' case, WWE tweaked his name from Ricky Starks to Ricky Saints, with the latter half serving as a nod to his hometown NFL team. Just 4 days ago, of course, All Elite Wrestling removed May from their official roster page. At the same time, reports indicated that May was still under AEW contract, but expected to sign with WWE after its expiration. In joining WWE, May leaves AEW as a former AEW Women's World Champion and Women's Owen Hart Foundation Cup winner. She last wrestled at AEW Revolution earlier this year in a bloody title Hollywood-ending match against timeless Toni Storm. Now, we've got a lot more details on May signing with WWE. According to Sean Rossap of Fightful Select, May has indeed signed a multi-year contract with WWE, as one would expect after she debuted on NXT. WWE has been moving talent around in anticipation of the move, with a number of NXT talents moving up to the main roster. The specifics of the debut were kept very quiet as to not to leak, according to SAP. At least on WWE's behalf, sources claimed that a very tight circle knew officially that May was on board ahead of time, but the plan for a while has been for her to be on NXT. Fightful say they've been told that the word was relayed in guerrilla to the talent just before the segment started. Most in AEW expected her to head to WWE for the last number of months. She'd been making moves preparing for life after AEW over the last couple of months, with most everyone thinking the landing point was WWE. The talent that Fightful spoke to said they expected her on NXT when she signed because of all the recent SmackDown and Raw call-ups. Now, Fightful have heard that AEW was of course interested in retaining her, but have not heard yet of what the offers actually look like. Those that Fightful spoke to in AEW didn't seem to think that she departed on bad terms. May was removed from the AEW roster page on May 31st, and her management said she was still technically under contract. Fightful have since learned that the deal came up at the beginning of June with a couple of others, but made the rare move on their behalf of getting ahead of the departure. Now, it's worth noting that Abaddon is still on AEW's roster page despite their deal being up. WWE NXT didn't mention her name. Now, Fightful say they've not heard if they're changing it, but there would be no issues with her using Mariah May as a name, as it's believed to be her shoot name. She'll be able to use Mariah May if the name sides chose to, but as she has for years. But this is a different situation from when Ricky Starks debuted. WWE was insistent there could be issues with the name, even though he technically used it before on WWE television. But it looks like there are indeed plans for her to use a different name in WWE NXT. This is because TC of WrestleVotes has reported the current plan is for Mariah May to get a new name once it's decided upon. Why WWE are changing May's name is unknown, but the company did modify Ricky Starks' name into Ricky Saints, reportedly because the company wanted to have a name they owned the trademark for. Now, name changes have been on a case-by-case basis, as other former AEW wrestlers in Jade Cargill and Rey Fenix retained their names upon debuting on the main roster. Fenix's brother Penta, though, received a shortened name from Penta El Zero to just Penta, so I suppose it depends indeed what WWE wants to do in this case when it comes to Mariah May. Now, May, after speaking on NXT, has also spoken on social media. She posted a photo on X saying, quote, "Honey, I'm home," while sitting on a staircase in the WWE Performance Center. She also spoke to WWE in a WWE Online Digital exclusive. So what are your thoughts on Mariah May officially putting pen to paper with WWE and officially debuting on NXT last night? Let me know your thoughts about it in the comments section below. Now, there was the big TNA World Championship match last night on NXT television, and Casey Navarro has debuted on NXT, and AJ Francis has returned to WWE. The main event of the June 3rd NXT on the CW saw Trick Williams defending his TNA World Championship against TNA wrestling star Mike Santana. While Santana was making his entrance, he gave a fist bump to Elijah, who was seated in the front row. Elijah is challenging for the TNA World title Against All Odds on June 6th. There came a point in the bout when Williams went over to Elijah, snatched his guitar, and smashed it. While the referee was handling the situation, Santana was attacked by First Class, that being Casey Navarro and AJ Francis. Francis chokeslammed Santana onto the announce desk. They tossed him back into the ring, and Trick followed up to retain the TNA World title. This, of course, was Francis' first WWE appearance since being released from WWE in 2023. He previously, of course, was known as part of Hit Row's Top Dollar. Speaking of which, that now confirms the TNA World Championship match at Against All Odds. Trick Williams put his TNA World Championship on the line against Mike Santana in the main event of NXT last night. He received that aforementioned assist from First Class to retain over Mike Santana. Before Francis and Navarro attacked Santana, Williams got into an altercation with Elijah, who was seated at ringside. Elijah was there because, as we spoke about previously, he is challenging for the TNA World Championship at Against All Odds on June 6th. With Williams retaining the bout, he'll be defending against Elijah at the upcoming TNA Plus special. Now, we spoke earlier about Ricky Saints, and WWE has confirmed an injury to the former AEW star. Ricky Saints lost the NXT North American Championship to Ethan Page on the May 27th episode of WWE NXT. During the match, Saints was on the receiving end of a twisted grin from Ethan, and his throat stuck the crossbar of the chair. It was announced on the June 3rd episode of NXT that Ricky had suffered a laryngeal contusion. An image of Ricky's CT scan was provided. It was stated that updates on his condition would be provided when they became available. There is currently no timetable on Ricky Saints' return to WWE television. Speaking of returns, Dragon Lee returned to NXT last night. The June 3rd episode of WWE NXT featured an 8-man tag team match with talent from Raw, Evolve, NXT, and one man who represents both AAA and TNA. During NXT, Sean Legacy, Dragon Lee, Laredo Kid, and Javon Evans defeated Ethan Page and the Vanity Project's Brad Baylor, Jackson Drake, and Ricky Smokes. Legacy is scheduled to challenge whoever walks out of WWE and AAA Worlds Collide with the NXT North American title bout on June 10th. The title will be decided in a match between Ethan Page, Rey Fenix, Laredo Kid, and Javon Evans. The aforementioned tag team match was scheduled after an interaction between the 7 participants earlier on in the show. Dragon Lee would return to NXT to team up with Laredo, Evans, and Legacy. He would also get the win for his team, hitting a Destino on Baylor for the victory. Now, speaking of AAA, there was AAA influence last night ahead of Worlds Collide this weekend. Now, ahead of the WWE and AAA Worlds Collide show on June 7th, there were several appearances from AAA talents on the June 3rd NXT. First up, the newly crowned AAA Mega Champion El Hijo del Vikingo. He won the title from Alberto El Patron at the AAA tapings over the weekend. There was also an 8-man tag that we spoke about that saw Javon Evans, Dragon Lee, Laredo Kid, and Sean Legacy take on North American Champion Ethan Page and the Vanity Project. Before the match began, cameras would cut over to Octagon Jr., Aerostar, and Mr. Iguana, who were seated in the front row. At Worlds Collide, they'll be taking on Dragon Lee, Cruz del Toro, and Lince Dorado, because Lince Dorado is replacing Joaquin Wilde. WWE announced that Lince Dorado will replace Joaquin Wilde at WWE AAA Worlds Collide on June 7th. Lince will team with Dragon Lee and Cruz del Toro to take on the aforementioned AAA stars. Wilde, of course, got knocked out during a match taped for WWE Speed on Monday. Whilst he said he was okay, it would assume that he is now in concussion protocol. There was a change to the culling last night on WWE NXT. Brooks Jensen is again a man without a home. Brooks Jensen thought he was resting a match on the June 3rd NXT, and while talking with the fellow members of the culling, Shawn Spears and Nico Vance, he was suddenly cracked in the back by a steel chair. The culprit was Izzy Dame, the group's 4th member. She informed Jensen that because she felt he was never fully committed to the group, he was out. She also stated that the match the group was going to have on June 3rd had been moved to June 10th and will now be a tag team match featuring Nico Vance and Shawn Spears. There was no inkling of dissension among the group before this moment. Jensen had been the first recruit of Spears upon his return to WWE NXT in 2024. Miles Bourne is now free from the No Quarter Catch crew. He's focusing on his singles career. After Miles Bourne challenged Obafemi for the NXT Championship at Battleground, he met with fellow members of No Quarter Catch crew, Charlie Dempsey, Tavon Heights, and Ren Sinclair. Dempsey made a comment about Bourne falling back in line with the group, and Bourne expressed that he can't go back to doing what he was doing before his singles run. It led to a bet being made that if Bourne could beat Dempsey in a rounds match, he would earn his way out of the No Quarter Catch crew. The match took place on the June 3rd NXT, and Bourne went 1-0 up. At the end of the second round, Dempsey gave Bourne a knee to the gut. Dempsey tied the score in the 3rd round, but the end of the bout saw Bourne secure the win. He is now out of the No Quarter Catch crew and attempted to shake the hand of Dempsey, but Dempsey declined. And we saw a debut of an LFG Season 1 co-winner last night, the official NXT in-ring debut of Tyra May Steel. WWE LFG Season 1 co-winner and Olympic gold medalist Tyra May Steel made her official NXT in-ring debut on June 3rd. She faced Ariana Grace. After the two exchanged words backstage, Steel picked up the victory in the match. Steel made her in-ring debut for WWE in 2024. On the May 29th TNA Impact, Grace teamed with her father Santino Marella, and they lost to Robert Stone and Victoria Crawford. Several matches and segments have been confirmed for WWE NXT next week, including a big NXT Championship match. In fact, 2 big-time championship matches and more have been made official for the June 10th episode of NXT. Not only will Sean Legacy challenge whoever walks out of WWE and AAA Worlds Collide with the NXT North American title bout, currently held by Ethan Page, but a second championship match has been added. Jasper Troy will challenge Obafemi for the NXT Championship. Troy is the inaugural winner of WWE LFG, and this will only be his second match on WWE NXT television. Additionally, it was previously announced that Nico Vance and Shawn Spears will team up to represent the culling. This was announced after Izzy Dame violently booted Brooks Jensen out of the group. Rounding out the card, Luca Crucifino informed Tony D'Angelo they would be in tag team action against High Rises Tariq and Tyson DuPont. In addition, as I mentioned, the NXT North American Championship match is also set for next week. And finally, once again, we got chants of "We Want Truth." On Monday Night Raw, the crowd in Tulsa, Oklahoma chanted for R-Truth as Truth publicly shared that he will not be coming back to WWE after the company opted to not renew his contract. There was an outpouring of support for Truth on social media. That translated over to the live audience on Raw, and it carried over to NXT on June 3rd. During the six-man tag team match between Chase University and Dark State, the crowd began chanting "We Want Truth" and "What's Up." Of course, if we get any more details on Truth's future in professional wrestling, we'll let you know in an upcoming video. But there you go, guys. Latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. As you can see right there, we're at 22,131 subscribers. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Join the ever-expanding WNU, that being the Wrestling News universe. In addition, you can become a member of the WN 365 roster. The link's in the video description below. You can click the join button or scan the QR code when it appears on the sidebar. You get your badges, your emojis, and your exclusive members-only content. Whilst you're checking out the sidebar, you can see all upcoming watch-alongs and post-shows we've got here live on the channel. We'll be streaming, of course, on Saturday for WWE and AAA Worlds Collide, as well as WWE Money in the Bank. So be sure to join us there. I appreciate everyone for tuning in, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.